Hi, we're making hobo wine here tonight. What we're going to do is we're going to use some juice concentrate. You want about 7 containers of juice concentrate. You need a pot to cook it in. You need about 7 to 9 pounds of sugar, and then you need a fermenter, a carboy. You can use a milk jug. Of course, if you do that, you're going to want to use less juice and less sugar, or you can use a food-grade bucket. Really, whatever you want. I mean, you know, the hobos weren't picky. They drank whatever the hell they could drink.
And what kind are we making today?
Blueberry pomegranate.
This will be our first time.
It all over the floor.
This will be our first time making blueberry pomegranate. So we'll see.
You want to make sure you've got enough water to dissolve all the sugar.
So it doesn't really matter how much that you start out with because you're going to be filling the carboy up with water, anyways.
Yeah. It's all going into the thing. There's nothing at all that's precise or scientific about this other than the process that the yeast goes through to make the alcohol. That's the most scientific process of this whole thing.
And that we will be going into as well.
You need to make sure everything's clean. You got to sanitize it all. I'm using a no-rinse sanitizing solution here.
So you'll just pour some of that in there and then shake it around.
Swish it around, make sure it's all clean.
So how much sugar are you going to be using today?
I don't know. I won't know until I check specific gravity. So I'm putting 5 pounds in right now. I'll put a couple more pounds in. After we're done stirring this, we're going to put it in the carboy and fill it with water.
Waiting for sugar to dissolve. Hey, Ops. Look, there's the buddy. Hey, buddy. So you pour all this in here now that the sugar is dissolved. Then you fill the bad boy up with water. Is that all it?
No.
No? There's the water.
I'm just going to top it off with regular tap water. You want to top it off to about here, and then you want to do a specific gravity reading and find out where you're at. If you need to add more sugar, you mix up a simple syrup, sugar and water in the microwave till the sugar is completely dissolved. Then you pour it in, stir it around, or if you're right at where you need to be, then you just top it off with water the rest of the way. Or if you've got hella too much sugar in there, you just siphon some out and then just water it down until you get to the right specific gravity. Now you take your handy dandy stir stick, which I don't believe in giving people my money, so I found this piece of pipe in my basement. It's PVC. Wash it, sanitize it, do whatever you want. I got some holes drilled, which I'll explain the reason for that later. And all you need to do is just stir it up, because as you see, we've got dark and light, and you want it to be even so you get a good, consistent reading.
And how much do they charge for these professional handy dandy stir sticks?
Well, as much as you want to pay.
You could spend $50 on a stick to stir this.
It's just like with anything. There's a bunch of businesses and companies that cater to yahoos who don't want to take the initiative to figure out what they can do for themselves. Instead, they want it all handed to them on a silver platter.
Damn, Skip.
But hobos don't know what a silver platter is. Now we're going to check the specific gravity. I stick one end of my siphon tube into the bottle of wine as far down as I can go, because you don't want to take a reading from the top, you don't want to take a reading from the bottom. You're shooting for around the middle.
Shooting for the middle.
Okay, and I can tell you right now we're going to need more sugar.
How much more do you think? And why is it apparent to you that we need more sugar? Because it isn't floating high enough?
Yeah, because we're only floating at about 12 right now, and I want to shoot for a little more than 13, especially since we do a sparkling wine here in the Cook household. We want to shoot for a little bit more.
We like bubbles. We like the bubbles.
So,
So next step is to make a simple syrup and then add the sugar water mixture to our carboy, which is why you leave a little extra space just in case.
Alright, we've added our simple syrup. I've topped it off with clean tap water. Now I'm just stirring it up, mixing it up. What I'm going to do then is I'll probably go ahead and bring it down into the basement because it's the only place where Veda can't get to it. And it also fermented like crazy last time when we had it down there. What I'll do is I'll probably wait for this last little bit remainder of this foam to kind of dissipate off, and then I'll go ahead and then I'll pitch the yeast and I'll throw the yeast in there. And that's just really easy. It's just a matter of taking the store-bought yeast that you can get. I get mine at the local liquor store. Lavalin EC 1118. It's a champagne yeast, has high alcohol tolerance. Works fine for what I need to do.
Tolerance or content?
Tolerance.
Okay.
Yeast will die at a certain alcohol level, so you need to have different yeasts that have different alcohol tolerances because yeast is a living organism. It's not like flour, it's not like sugar, it's actually alive. And what happens is you put the yeast in here and in essence it eats the sugar, it pisses alcohol, and it craps carbon dioxide, which are both two key elements that I need in my homemade wine. However, I don't need as much of the carbon dioxide, which is why I fit an airlock to the top, which allows gas CO2 to escape, and then it allows no oxygen to get in, which would turn it into vinegar. And then, of course, all the alcohol stays in the juice. Alright, now Jessica wanted me to explain why I put the bottle holes at the bottom of this thing. It's a feature I put in there for bottling. When I'm bottling, I use this tube here, a stirring tube as well. I take a piece of plastic tubing, actually much thicker than this, for bottling. I then feed it down into here, and what this does, then I take it and I find out where it's at, and then I bring it right above to where the holes are. What that does is when I stick this into the bottom, it keeps the bottom of the tube about an inch or so off of the bottom of the carboy to prevent sediment from getting in. And also what this does is it keeps the tube straight, so that way when I bottle it, because when you bottle you want to draw from the bottom, it allows me to keep the tube straight, because if you try to stick a floppy tube in there, what happens is it winds up kinking up and curling around, and you wind up the other end of your siphon is sticking out in the air while you have 10 foot of tube stuck down there, and it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, okay. And we made a video about bottling already, but I don't think that you mentioned that in that one. I don't know.
I probably did. I may have.
What you're saying is it may be tomorrow that you put the yeast in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it is like of anything, but that's just how
I mean, and basically all you do is mix up 1 packet of yeast and such amount of water and then pour it in there, right?
All you do is you dump the yeast into a little bit of lukewarm water, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then you just pour it in, stir it up, airlock it.
And then that sits for how many days until it's ready to be bottled?
Till it's ready.
Till it's ready, and you will continue to measure the gravity.
Yep, counting the bubbles, measure the specific gravity until it gets down to about 1%, 0.5%, and then I'll bottle it because I want to keep a little bit of active sugar and active yeast in there, so it'll make sparkling wine.
So, yeah, and then we've got the other video, which we already posted about the bottling process. So there you go. That's how we make our homemade wine. And if you had any questions, just drop them in a comment, and we will answer them as best we can. Take care. Bye.